It has been a wild week for the Bitcoin price. You can see here that Bitcoin first started off about a week ago where it made an all-time high at about 124. Then it came all the way down to about 112, bounced off of this 112 region, and then actually popped back up again after the Jackson Hole meeting and announcement with the Fed Chair Jerome Powell. But I'm going to talk about that in a minute. And then now we are at a sell signal for the Supertrend. It's been incredibly unusual over the past couple of weeks where we've seen the Supertrend indicator bounce between buy, and sell again. And this isn't normal. It just goes to show you that this period of time we're in right now, August and September, is known for being unusually volatile, and we have all these announcements that push and pull the Bitcoin price all over the place. But I am starting to get some more information on what I think is going to happen to the Bitcoin price in the near term. And that starts with the major expiry that we're going to be having on Friday. I'm going to cover that in a minute. First, I want to talk about what happened to make Bitcoin jump on last Friday. So Jerome Powell had a press conference in Jackson Hole. They are basically signaling, the Fed is basically signaling a possible rate cut. And so this kind of moves the market. Bitcoin goes up, stocks go up as a result. And this is the reason why we saw Bitcoin's rally from 112 up to about 116. Now, we've given some of that back, but I do think that this is overall very bullish for the market if they do cut, and I do think it's going to happen. It's not a matter of if, but when these these rate cuts actually occur. I do think that it's going to be very positive for Bitcoin. I've made videos basically about where I talk about the correlation between the interest rates and Bitcoin, and it's an inverse correlation. So when the rates go down, Bitcoin tends to go up, and that's my expectation for the long term, let's say about a year from now. In addition to that, we had significant liquidations happening on both sides over the last week or so. We saw a large number of shorts being liquidated on the 21st of August. And then before that, on the 18th and the 17th of August, we had a large number of crypto longs being liquidated as well. And so that's another reason why we've seen this volatility in the Bitcoin price. If you take a look at the liquidation heat map, you can see here that there's a large pocket of short liquidity again sitting right here at about 119, 118, 120. And if it pushes anywhere near this area, we could get another pop, another squeeze that we saw, like the one that took us all the way back to the 124 region. I think that's entirely possible. We could make a new all-time high if we get a little bit of momentum in the near term. Now, it's not really surprising considering the fact that Bitcoin has been so volatile this month because, as I mentioned before, August and September tend to be the worst months for Bitcoin. There's a lot of uncertainty in the market. There's a lot of other things happening in the macroeconomic picture that tends to drive traders to sell or to initiate new short positions. Not a huge surprise. Expect that's going to be the case for August and September. Normally, these are really bad months for Bitcoin. So if we can just eke out of these months with a positive gain, I think that would actually wind up being very bullish for the long term. Now, remember that October is also one of the best months for Bitcoin with a plus 21% average return. Now, we're going to move on to the Bitcoin metrics when we talk about the Bitcoin options that are set to expire on the 29th of August. Now, as a reminder, the 29th of August, this Friday, we have over $12 billion worth of options set to expire for Bitcoin and a max paying price of 116K. Now, this isn't too far from where the Bitcoin price currently is at a 115. However, as we get closer and closer to this expiration date, expect that we're going to see some massive volatility. This is one of the largest options expiries that I've seen so far. This kind of adds more fuel to the fire, either on the upside or potentially on the downside. And the max paying price does tend to become basically like a magnet, and it tries to draw Bitcoin to that level. And if that is the case, then we will see a very small increase to the Bitcoin price by the end of the week. So look for this and pay attention to some extreme volatility by the end of the week. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the fact that whales have been adding to their Bitcoin stash. You have here the whale wallet number Mr. 100. This is the person who has been selling over the past couple of months. You can see here large sells, 600, 500, 900, 600, large sells from their account. They have actually, in the past day or two, switched to buying almost 700 Bitcoin over the past 2 days. So this is very interesting. This is the last time that this whale actually went and bought Bitcoin was all the way back in large amounts, was back in April. And since then, this whale has not really been adding large amounts of Bitcoin. They've mostly been selling. But now this is a very interesting signal to follow where you have a large whale who's now buying Bitcoin instead of selling it. So maybe this whale knows something that we don't. And the last thing I want to talk about is the Bitcoin spot ETF tracker. So not a big surprise. We had a large outflow from the Bitcoin spot ETF tracker. You can see here the net flow is negative $1 billion to the net flow. So you had a $1 billion worth of outflows from these Bitcoin spot ETFs. Now, again, this is the result of fear in the market. This is a result of uncertainty and a flight to safety outside of crypto and stocks. So this is not a huge surprise. This is not something that I expect will continue to occur. I think that this is probably just a one-time event where you had a large dumping of these of the sale of these spot ETFs, and I think that we're going to wind up seeing we're going to go back to the green, back to gains in the spot ETFs, which should actually help Bitcoin price in the near term. But I do think that it's possible, based on the short term, that the Supertrend indicator, either we get more horizontal action, which Bitcoin just chops sideways, right, with large swings in between, or Bitcoin does actually come down and punches through this support level here. Let's call this support level here at about 112, and it could potentially bounce and punch through this level and then bounce down here at 106. Okay, so in the near term, a little bit bearish, but ultimately the long term is setting up to be very, very bullish for Bitcoin, especially if we get those rate cuts, which I think is more likely than not. But let me know what you guys think. Drop a comment below if you think that we're going to get these rate cuts or not. If you're skeptical, if you don't think that Bitcoin's going to actually move on the back of those rate cuts, leave a comment below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.